What is not as well known about the 1994 Rwanda genocide was the number of women and girls and grandmothers who were raped and sexually assaulted. An estimated 250,000 to 500,000 women, 70% of the women and girls, were infected with HIV. And according to a UN report, rape was the rule rather than the exception. Sandra has co-authored a book called The Men Who Killed Me, stories about Rwandan women who were raped and survived, and she joins us now. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me here.
My first question is, and it might be a bit of a redundant question, but why did you feel it necessary to write this book?
Well, these stories are well known amongst people in the human rights community. We've circulated them. I started learning about them when I was working in an NGO in the Netherlands. We were learning about stories of women in the Congo who'd been raped, but we felt the public had not heard them, and we wanted more public awareness of this issue, sexual violence in conflict situations, because it's continuing it happened in Rwanda, it's continuing in Congo, it's happening in Darfur. Yeah.
And it's not, I mean, you may think that it's just the rebel soldiers who are doing the raping, but it's not. It's some of these humanitarian soldiers who are going in, that were part of UNIMIR, the mission in Rwanda, some of the police officers there.
Yeah. A number of survivors told us they had been raped by FAR soldiers, who are the government soldiers, as well as militia, and French soldiers were implicated in this too. There's one survivor who told us some horrible stories of being gang raped by soldiers in the French army.
For weeks?
Yes.
Yeah, at a time. How was it finding these women, and how was it for them telling their stories to you?
Finding the woman was not a challenge. We have a partnership with a local Rwandan organization who works with these women, and they have gained the trust of these women over many years of counseling and providing medical treatment. So that wasn't a challenge. And the women, surprisingly, really wanted to talk to us about this project. We were approached by a number of women who we didn't identify initially, who said they wanted to be part of it because they wanted the world to know what happened to them. So that was never a challenge for us. Women wanted to share their stories.
What I found interesting, I was telling you in the break that when I went to Rwanda last September, and a lot of the people that I spoke with, just on a very basic level, all said that they pretty much forgave their neighbors and the people involved in the genocide in 1994. None of these women forgive the men and women who raped them in most cases.
It's true. I think they felt there was no accountability that was for many of the perpetrators. Many of them were charged in local courts and sentenced to a year in prison and are now walking alongside them, shopping alongside them and their neighbors. And I think there hasn't been a sense of reconciliation that should come with accountability. So many of the survivors don't feel a sense of forgiveness.
What needs to be done to really change rape as a weapon of war?
I think that's a really huge question. I think we need to foster a culture of nonviolence against women. And I know there's lots of organizations doing that, and I think accountability is a big first step to know, so perpetrators know that they can't get away with crimes like this in the future.
And what's amazing too about really the end of this book is that these women are all survivors, and they're beautiful women, and they have beautiful children, even though a lot of them are HIV positive. They're surviving, they're living, and they're getting through it, which is a wonderful message.
Yeah.
So thank you for going there and telling their incredibly difficult stories.
Thank you for letting me share this story here.
So it's called The Men Who Killed Me, Rwandan Survivors of Sexual Abuse. And I have seen the book everywhere in chapters, and so it's widely available. Thank you so much, Sandra.
Thanks, Wendy.
We are talking to Canadian